What's going on? It's Hexedmak, and that's going to be Hexedmak on all socials. Look me up on Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, anything. And today I'm here with.
Austin Sig Newby of the band Illicit Tongues. Austin Sig Newby on Instagram, and you can find us at illicit_tongues on Instagram.
Nice to have you today, Austin. Today we're going to start with another interview. This is going to be our third interview on the channel. We're going to get the ball rolling with what first inspired you to start music, and when did you realize music was more than just a hobby for you?
So I've always been into music for like as long as I can remember, dude. Like my mom and pops has got pictures of me running around the house like butt naked with toy guitars and like toy microphones and stuff. I've always kind of known that it would be a path that I would take. But I'd say like my first inspiration that got me wanting to do it was like my dad would show me all of the records that he was into around the time, like the stuff from the '90s, like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pantera, all the heavy music of that time, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, who were your earliest influences, inside or outside of music?
Um, Probably Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains, the guitar player. He was like the first dude that whenever I seen him on stage, I was like, "Oh, dude, he's cool." You know what I mean? Like I want
Hell
to be
yeah,
like that dude, you know.
absolutely.
Um, and then probably like Metallica. Like growing up, like as a dude in the South, like anybody that was into rock music, they love Metallica. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So seeing James and all those guys definitely was a huge influence on me.
hell yeah, bro. Um, how did your environment or your upbringing shape the way you make music today?
You know just as well as I do, like growing up in a small town like this, like with a pretty much non-existent music scene, like dude, it's a lot of boredom, it's a lot of pent up emotions, like, and that really comes through in the music whenever there's not a scene for you to put it out there for people. It's almost like a boiling pot that just boils over, and it results in some really cool music, you know.
Every time. The boredom really gets you. I mean, that's the main push right there is being bored, having nothing to do, and seeing other people, especially make music in such a small scene, really pushes you to want to make something.
For sure. And it also contributes to how like tied in and tight like the musicians in the little local scene are, you know what I mean? Like because who else is there to do it? You know what I mean? We all gravitate toward each other, you know?
Exactly. All right, Austin. We're going to go on to your creative process and your style. How would you describe your sound to someone who's never heard your music before?
So we've labeled the sound of Illicit Tongues as like a punk fueled stoner rock. Um it's it's it could fall underneath a few different categories. Like you could call it garage rock, you could call it psych rock, you could call it psychedelic rock, desert rock. All of that is like it all originates from Joshua Tree, California, and the bands that come from that scene out that way. Um, but it's cool, man. It's very riff driven, like guitar riff driven. It's got groove. It's emotional and kind of dark, you know.
Absolutely. Well, what does that look like? And I mean, what's your recording process look like? Do you write it down? Do you freestyle? Do you mix both of them?
It's kind of a combination of both of those things. Some songs that we've wrote have been just like improv things that have came about while we've been in our rehearsal space, and then some songs, most songs that we write actually, they start like I'll sit in my house throughout the week and I'll just be writing guitar riffs, and like I teach guitar lessons as well, you know what I mean? So I'm always coming up with new ideas of what I could play, and so I'll come up with a guitar riff or two guitar riffs that complement each other, and then I'll take them and I'll present them to the band. And then it's cool because at that point it becomes a collaborative process between the four of us where it's like, okay, here's this riff that Austin wrote, and then Jeremy, Draven, and Logan, they'll hear it and they'll start adding these little things that are like third flair to it. You know what I mean? And then by the time we have a whole song structured out, it's this big collaborative process between the four of us that we can all walk away from and feel like we contributed to.
Hell yeah. Well, that kind of ties into our next question here. And it sounds like we already know the answer. But do you produce or engineer your own tracks, or would you rather collaborate with people behind the scenes?
So really, we let Logan handle all of that for us. We all have a little bit of know-how on how to do it, but Logan, our guitarist, he's a whiz when it comes to that, dude. He's been working on Logic for years now, and he's invested so much time and money into buying all these different plugins and stuff that are just like top tier, you know. So once we have the song ready to go, like then Logan pops out his computer and then he's got it, you know.
Absolutely. And it's always nice to have someone like that around, especially in a small town where there's not really anything like that here.
For sure. And we are open to like collaborating with other artists and other producers and stuff like that. But one thing I will say is like we have an idea of what we want to sound like and we don't really want to compromise on that. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. You kind of want to keep the same sound rolling. You don't want to switch it up too much.
For sure.
Well, what's the story behind your most meaningful song so far?
So our first single that we're about to put out, right? It's called Evil Woman Under Your Spell. It's like the evil woman with the little dashes or whatever. It's got two titles pretty much. And we wrote it about like experiences that me and some of the other members of the band have had with just some of the women that we've dated throughout the years, like the narcissistic, self-deprecating type that just they don't even realize how bad the stuff that they do is, you know. But here's also a thing that ties into the song is it's like we're kind of drawn to that type of person, you know what I mean? And
Right.
in a weird way, it's kind of like the toxic girl you don't want to walk away from, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Next, we're going to move on to hustles and struggles. Austin, what's been the hardest challenge you've faced as an underground artist?
Probably booking shows. Like whenever you go to book a show, whenever you're an artist that really hasn't established themselves into the scene yet, you kind of have to have somebody that vouches for you, whether it be another artist or a promoter or something of the sorts of that. You know what I mean? We've been very, very blessed to have worked with a lot of bands that knew us personally as individuals before we started doing the whole band thing or whatever. And they helped us get a lot of our first few shows. And then we've been really blessed to work with a lot of really cool promoters too. There's a promoter that we work with right now. His name's Dana Horn, and he runs a Facebook page called Metal and Tats, and he also runs a nonprofit organization called Metal for the Homeless. And what they do is they throw affordable rock and metal shows all around Tennessee, and they take the profits from those shows and then they donate it to other nonprofits that work directly with the homeless, like providing resources for them and whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty dope. He's a good dude, man.
Nice. I think I saw that at y'all's last show actually in Smithville.
Yeah. He was there. So he hosted that show. He didn't promote that show or whatnot, but he came. Well, I guess you could say he kind of promoted it. Yeah, but yeah, he definitely hosted it, and that's where I met him for the first time. After that show, me and all the bands that played that night, and him, we all went to Applebee's and like kicked it and got to know each other. It was cool.
Hell yeah, bro. Um, so how do you balance that? And I mean, how do you balance the business side, such as promoting, branding, shows, with your creative side and keeping stuff fun?
Um, it's tough. It gets stressful sometimes, especially whenever you're in a music project that has four different heads that all have ideas bouncing off of each other and whatnot. But you have to treat it like a business, right? You have to treat it like a business for it to grow. But what you can't do is let all of the stress from like the promoting, the booking, the just everything that comes along with that, you can't let that get in the way of the creativity. You kind of have to focus on letting the music has to come first. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, do you think it's harder now or easier for independent artists to get noticed compared to the past?
Both in a way. Like it's like it's easier to put music out there nowadays, but it's a lot harder to get noticed and to stand out. Um, Anybody can drop a song, but building something real behind it that your audience can connect to, that's the thing, you know.
Absolutely. Next, we're going to roll on to scene and culture. Austin, how do you feel about your local music scene? And what role does it play in your career?
The scene around here is dope, dude, especially when it comes to rock and metal. Like there's so much dope talent and illicit tongues. What we want to do is we just want to make sure that we help the scene grow and we contribute to it, you know what I mean? Right now what we're doing is we're just trying to network and build relationships with a lot of these bands that are already doing it and that have came before us. There's a lot of really dope bands that have gave us some cool opportunities, like our very first show we ever got to play, there's a band from Cookeville called Disaster Front. They're a skate punk band, and I knew the lead singer of their band. I used to skateboard with him a lot in Cookeville, growing up, like when I was in high school and stuff like that. But they gave us our very first opportunity, and also Sense of Identity from Rock Island, Tennessee. They're another local band, super heavy, super sick, dude. Like they're actually who helped us get that show in Smithfield that you came to.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, you kind of have to, like you said, in such a small town, you kind of have to have those connections and, reach out to people who have already, like you said, been through it, did what you've did, and they can get you out into a bigger spot.
for sure, dude. The scene is all about lifting each other up, bro. And if it's not about that, then there's something wrong. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
you're not doing it the right way. Um,
Right.
so what separates that from underground music? What separates the mainstream from the underground in your eyes?
The underground's more real, bro. The underground, there's way more passion there. Like
Absolutely.
I feel like whenever you get into like mainstream acts and like these huge bands that are playing on these big stages in like Nashville and bigger cities and stuff like that, some of them are trying to fit a certain mold. You know what I mean? A certain prefab almost, you know what I mean? And the underground, that's where you got the bands that are just like giving it their all, putting it their all into it and saying what they want to say, whether people like it or not, you know?
They're hungry. They're hungry for it. They actually have some want. All right, Austin, to finish off this interview, we're going to go with growth and future. Starting out with, where do you see yourself musically in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I'd like to see Illicit Tongues like touring, traveling around, playing shows, putting out more music. Hopefully, within 5 years, we'll have an album or two out, you know, maybe three. Um, and really just continuing to grow step by step while staying true to us and what we're doing in our sound, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, not much more to be said.
Right.
Um, if you could collaborate with any artist, underground or mainstream, who would that be and why?
When it comes to like the underground, I'd like to maybe collaborate with some of those bands I mentioned that kind of gave us some of our first opportunities, like Disaster Front, Sense of Identity. Um, on the more mainstream side of things, my favorite band, Queens of the Stone Age, literally any active or former member of that band, any of them, dude, that would be awesome to me, you know? Um, Low from the band Loading Data and Patron, that'd be a really cool collaboration. And then one that kind of hits home for me, just because I grew up on the music, Billy Gibbons, the singer guitar player of ZZ Top, bro. That would be sick.
I was really actually surprised I didn't hear Marilyn Manson included in any of
Oh,
that.
dude, yeah, we cover one of his songs. I would love that, bro. I would love
Y'all
that, bro. That'd be really sick.
y'all rock that song, bro. That would be dope.
Thank you,
Um
dude. Yeah, that's one of our favorite ones to play, bro. We play Tourniquet.
yeah, absolutely. That shit rocked the house, bro. Um so to end the interview, what do you ultimately want people to take away from you and your band's music?
At the end of the day, dude, we want people to feel something. Like whether it be the energy that we're putting into it or the emotion that is behind it or even just to escape. Like if someone can connect to what we're doing and lose themselves in it for just a little bit, you know what I mean? Whether it be a few minutes or whether they deep dive into one of our whole albums and have that whole experience. That's what it's all about, dude, because these songs that we write, they mean something to us. And if that can be understood by our audience or whatnot, then that's what it's all about, bro. That's what we do it for, you know?
Amazing final answer, bro. So it's been Hexedmak. It's been good having
Austin Sig Newby of Illicit Tongues.
on the interview. Austin, where can people find you or your music one more time?
Find You can look on SoundCloud. We got a SoundCloud page for the band. You can also look up Austin Signubi on SoundCloud. I got some solo music out. We're gonna be playing a lot of shows throughout the next few months. I'll plug those real quick. May 1st, we're going on a podcast in Nashville called the White Trash Late Night Show, and so that'll be May 1st. It'll be a live stream performance. We're going to be debuting our first single there on that show. May 24th, we're going to be playing at Mean Males. They're throwing a festival for charity there. Also, June 13th, we're going to be playing at Mean Males again, opening up for a band called the No Loves. June 27th, we're going to be playing at the VFW in Tullahoma, Tennessee. August 15th, we're going to be playing at Emerald Heart in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's like a THC dispensary bar type thing. It'd be really cool. September 5th, we'll be playing at the VFW in Kingsport, Tennessee. So come out and check us out.
A lot of shows and a lot of good ones. Well, we'll be there. Hopefully, a lot of the audience will get the bags on and head that way, brother.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Well, it was nice to have you for our third interview. Let's hope you have a good couple shows, Austin.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Hell yeah.
Tie your head back.